Hey everyone, today's guest is Slade Echeverria, lead vocalist and bassist for the Phoenix, Arizona rock band Anarbor. Together we break down the writing, recording, and inspiration behind the surprise hit single 18, taken from their 2013 album Burnout. I say surprise hit because this song wasn't released as a single via audio or video upon the album's initial release. Rather, the song became a TikTok phenomenon, going viral with legions of people across that social media platform. So much so that the band, due to audience demand, had to start playing 18 at their live shows. Slade mentioned that this song was a bit outside of the box to what Anarbor had released up to that point. It was written rather quickly and came together fairly easy in the studio, thanks in part to producer Matt Maheffy's involvement. There's a lot going on production-wise, and Slade pointed out that the band had to learn to replicate a lot of those sounds captured on the recording when they finally decided to play the song live. Very cool. For all this and a bunch more, don't touch that dial.
Hey, have you heard? Krista makes a podcast. Hey, have you heard? Krista makes a podcast. Hey, have you heard? Krista makes a podcast. Hey, have you heard? Krista makes a podcast.
Hey Slade, how are you?
Good. How are you, Chris?
I'm doing fantastic, man. Thanks for sitting in today. Where are you at right now?
So I am in my daughter's room in Phoenix, Arizona, in the heat, baby.
I love it. I noticed some stuffed animals back there. I was like, either that's some fancy mojo for a studio that you're in, or that's one of your kids' rooms.
Yeah, definitely kids' rooms. I wish I had a studio that was this cool, but this is where I have to hide out when I got to do stuff like this. So
that's awesome. Well, I've been doing a little research on your band for the past couple days, and Ann Arbor, I'm sure you know, is a city in Michigan.
Yes.
And I'm from Michigan, and my father used to work in Ann Arbor. And
okay.
Was there a lot of confusion over the years with that being your name? People thinking you're from Michigan, although you're from Phoenix?
Yes, that is a common thing people say. They'll be like, "Oh, well, you guys must be from Michigan," and it's like, actually, we're from Arizona. And people are like, "Why does that make no sense?" And it's like, it actually makes no sense because when we came up with the name, we had to do a quick name change back at the very beginning of when we first got signed, and we couldn't go with our old name. Our old name was like Troop 101. And it just was so bad. And even the label was like, you guys need to change it. So what we did was we all kind of went on AIM or whatever it was and threw 5 names in. And I think our guitar player at the time said Ann Arbor, but we kind of smashed it in, and that's where we came up with it. So there's no crazy real story about it. But we do get that all the time.
And of course, it's spelled different than Ann Arbor, Michigan. It has 2 N's. So, right. I had to ask about that because I'd imagine that would get annoying over the years that you've been asked that a million times in interviews, and that's how I start this one off. What an idiot.
You're good, dude.
So, you guys, you formed in Phoenix in 2003, signed to Hopeless in 2008 while you were still in high school. What was that like?
Yeah, so that was pretty crazy, man. Like back in the day, we were just going to Warped Tour and Edge Fest as a bunch of friends here in Phoenix, and we kind of just wanted to start the band. And none of us had really played any instruments, so it took us a while to get it going. But the local scene here kind of picked us up, and we kind of just played shows on the weekends when we weren't in school. So we tried to just get out as much as we could, eventually traveling to California and stuff, and then started getting some record attention there. And God bless our parents. Our parents let us do all this stuff,
That's what I was going to ask. Here you are in high school, and all of a sudden Mr. Record Company man's knocking on the door. What'd your parents think?
Yeah, so they were like, okay, that you guys are actually kind of good, and they didn't really understand because it was the emo music scene. So they were like, whatever, if you guys want to do this, you can. But they were definitely not stoked at the beginning. They gave us a couple shots, and we did good, and so they're like, okay, I'll let you guys kind of go off on your own. But it was kind of subtly, we were slowly doing it. So we went over, to California on the weekends. We'd go over to New Mexico, maybe a little Texas here. But once it all came into, leaving for a month, they were definitely hesitant on letting us go. It was not easy.
So yeah, you guys have released 4 EPs and 4 studio albums. Your debut Hopeless EP, The Natural Way, was released in 2008, debuted at number 6 on the Billboard Top Singles Album chart. First full-length album, The Words You Don't Swallow, was released in April 2010. Your second album, Burnout, which is the album that 18 is from, the song we're going to be talking about today, was released in July 2013. In 2016, you released your self-titled record, record, and your brand new album just came out September 2nd called Love and Drugs. Congratulations.
Thanks, man. Gosh, it's crazy to hear all that when you say it, because it's been such a long journey for us. And like, we had a bunch of EPs, but the records are like, I mean, you're in a band, the records are really what matters, I guess. So
yeah,
this one was really important for us. Like, we worked really hard on it. It took a lot of time. We scrapped a whole record that we wrote just to get, the best stuff that we could. So this latest one, Love and Drugs, is like really, really, we're really excited about it. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, when we're researching for these shows, my producer Chris and I, and our listeners know this, we dig pretty deep. We look at Spotify plays, we look at YouTube plays, try to figure out, what is a career-defining song for a band. I went back and noticed that 18 wasn't released as like a video or single from the Burnout record, but this is arguably one of your biggest songs. I've looked at live clips from this. The audience goes completely crazy for this song. What is it about this? What was it in a Tony Hawk video game or something? How did this thing just blow up for you guys?
Dude, it's pretty strange, because when we wrote the song, we didn't really know. I mean, it wasn't even a single off the record, like you said, necessarily.
Right.
So we didn't even do a freaking music video for it. And honestly, at the time, people weren't really that into it. I feel like it was maybe a little bit too kind of sing-songy poppy for what we had as like our sound. So people might have bypassed it. And then, dude, you hit me up like, 2 or 3 years ago, and TikTok came around, and all of a sudden, I mean, we didn't even have a TikTok, dude. I hadn't even really heard of it, but somebody's like, your song's going viral on TikTok, and we were like, whatever. So we looked into it, and there's just millions of videos, dude, millions, and I couldn't believe it. And we completely missed the chance to gain the followers wherever we could that one. But we saw it, and we were like, holy shit, dude, like this is crazy. And then we went to the Spotify and we pieced it together that was how, like, it landed on so many playlists that just organically, that even now it's just running strong on our top, dude. It's crazy.
Congrats. I love that.
Thanks.
I love that. I love that story, because it just goes to show you, no matter as an artist, you could put out a song 20 years ago. We're seeing it with Stranger Things, with Metallica and Kate Bush, where these songs are coming back and re-entering the top Billboard 200 and the album's charting again. And you just never know. And this song is leaps and bounds, I would say, further than your other songs in terms of plays. This thing just has legs, and it's got to be from the TikTok thing.
Dude, it's got to be from the TikTok. And right around that time, we had a little bit of buzz from the Scooby-Doo thing, too. So I think that's maybe where that kind of fell short. People were like, oh, Scooby-Doo, they went kind of buzzing over that. And so later on, dude, it's crazy. Like you said, how songs can just kind of reemerge and hit the charts after years. Like, what a time, man. What a time for us.
Sure. And after that happened, did you notice, like I said, I went and watched live videos, and most of them were within the past 3 or 4 years. Did you notice the crowd reception to this song?
Dude, it's funny, because we didn't even think about playing the song live. We didn't even like, it wasn't even, because it was so poppy, and like, we're a rock band, like, I love to rock out, and I'm not really like 18, so it was what it was. But I think I finally started to notice, and I just did an interview the other day, and they were like, what's your set list like? And I was like, I'm always so particular on our set list, because I like to play what I like. Unfortunately, not a lot of people like that, but I finally put my white flag up, and we're starting to play, our top 15 songs off Spotify or whatever it is, so people can be happy. But the last few shows that we've played, man, have been like, we've had to save it for like our later songs, because people want to hear that song. It's crazy.
It's the hit.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I'm stoked about it. I love it, man. I'm just embracing it now.
You as you should. I have songs that if they would have become popular or been huge for my band, they're a little cringy at this point. I wrote them when I was 21 or 22, and there's some lyrics in here that you might not want to sing as an older man,
Dude,
and we'll get to those. But think about the TikTok generation, how much younger fans they are, and how they're relating to this lyric now, and you never would have thought it back in the day.
Oh my gosh, never would have, dude. And you should see these videos. Like, these kids are all punked out, doing the whole edits, and it's so cool, man. It's so cool to see and to know that people have actually, whether or not they heard us, now they've heard us. So it's cool.
Right. So where was this song when you were writing the record, Burnout? Where was this song to you? Like, where did it fit? Did you have high hopes? It sounds like it was just maybe another song at that point.
Yeah, I think for everyone that was a part of the team at that time, it was a good song. It wasn't the single, because like I said, we were more of like a rock, kind of going for a rock vibe, but we definitely were going to keep it a part of the record. I know the label really liked it, but everybody that was kind of like our manager in the band, we were like, yeah, it's too poppy, blah blah blah. So we pretty sure we threw it like right in the beginning of the record, but I mean, yeah, it's perfectly fine, I think, with everything else. And now that we've experimented and gotten more mature with our sound, it's definitely kept our sound a little bit more broad, which is great. So
that's really cool. And have you played it pretty much at every show the past couple of years?
Yeah,
it's a staple now.
Oh yeah, it's a staple, man. We gotta save it.
Again, like I said, I watched a bunch of live videos, and the audience reaction is incredible from this song. The song is relatively short, 2 minutes and 37 seconds.
Yeah.
Which there's no fat on the bone here at all, as far as I'm concerned.
Especially like musically wise, we went in. It was definitely like I think it was definitely more of like a lyric driven song. We kind of came up with a riff, and then we were all in the room. We were like, okay, let's just start writing melodies. We came up with the melody, and then the lyrics came shortly after. But yeah, nothing too hard or crazy about it, dude. Which blows my mind still, because we have so many better songs. But it is what it is, man.
You don't know how many times on this show someone said that we have better songs. I'm like, I know, but don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Look what this song's done for you.
I know. Yeah. I know.
It's incredible. Well, the album was produced by, is it Matt Mahaffey?
Matt Mahaffey, yes, sir.
Matt Mahaffey.
Yeah.
And I hadn't heard of Matt before. He's from the band Self. They're a great band. Dude, I remember Self.
Dude, that band is so sick. Like, I had never heard of them before we went into the studio with him. And he's like, yeah, I play with a band called Self. And Self is just him. Like, he is the band. Like, so 90s, so cool. Like, he did a bunch of stuff for Shrek. He did like the whole like soundtrack for Shrek, and even his singles that he's got were so cool, man. He was really good, really cool producer, really guy out in Nashville.
Yeah, well, upon researching him, he's worked with Pink, Beck, Liz Phair, Tenacious D, Snoop Dogg, among others, and he's a multi-instrumentalist as well. He plays a bunch of stuff, and he was credited on your record for playing some instruments.
Yeah, dude, he's super techie. Like, I don't even know some of the stuff that he had in there, like just crazy keyboards and. Yeah, dude, he really, really good guy. Really, really smart guy, too. Really nice.
That's awesome. Well, the track, again, is 2 minutes and 37 seconds. There's an 8-bar intro, and there's this drum loop. Now, were those real drums that are processed there? I couldn't tell.
They are fake. They are not real drums.
Okay, so it is a standard drum loop. There's acoustic guitar right off the top, and it sounds like it's finger picked. I love what the guitar's doing there.
Yes.
Bass is in off the top. There's shakers present throughout, and there's a single tambourine hit on bar 4 and bar 5. And the intro here is the verse progression that leads into verse 1.
In your daddy's car, you wanna move in with me? Guess we're off to a heavy start. Should've seen this coming from a mile away. 18, crazy. I know what you want from me. I know what you want from me. So if you wanna
18, crazy. Pulled up in your daddy's car. You wanna move in with me? Guess we're off to a heavy start. Should have seen this coming from a mile away. 18, crazy. I know what you want from me. I know what you want from me.
Oh, boy. Well.
Oh, boy.
This was probably when I was like around 21, 20-ish. And I'd been touring a lot. Got back home. The band was buzzing and stuff. And, of course, I'm just hanging out at home doing whatever. So meet this girl. She's like 18 or whatever. And she had a bunch of money, so she was always, living off her parents and stuff. But she thought, that I was some like cool rock star guy or whatever, and we tried to always hide that. But I tried to base it kind of off of that like relationship that I had, that I just was coming in as like this kind of like tattooed cool guy, and she's just this like square girl, I suppose, and trying to date this cool guy, and just a weird mixture, I guess. But some of the interactions that I had with, this girl and maybe a few other girls definitely jammed itself into this song. So, it definitely is a real thing.
I think musicians are going to be able to write about being 18 forever.
Right.
I don't think it'll ever get old because there's always a fresh batch of 18-year-olds that are experiencing, and maybe I can move out of mom and dad's house. But the whole thing about being 18, it never gets old, and it's so relatable, as evidenced by the TikTok thing that happened with you guys.
Right. And we were talking about other like other rhymes that could go with it, like 18. Like, that was in the discussion while we were writing it, and Sean was like, we should stick with 18, that's like a perfect, I mean, you guys aren't far away from 18 anyway. And it was like, yeah, sure. And we all kind of agreed that would be the number.
Gotcha. And before we go too much further, did you demo this song?
No.
No demo?
Well, I guess yes, because we wrote the song like in a room real quick, demoed it, and then we went back with Mahaffey and I guess finished it. So yeah, we did. It was a quick demo, but it was nothing like we were listening to like heavily. We didn't change much on it. So I guess I don't even remember that demo, but I guess we did, yeah. Right.
And how do you typically write? Do you write it on an acoustic guitar or by yourself and then present it to the band, or how'd that process go?
Usually I'll write on an acoustic. I get these melodies in my head and I'll kind of try to voice note them. And then I'll kind of hear stuff in the back, like for music. But when it comes to like if I'm just thinking of like a quick hook or something, I'll kind of track it really quick on my phone. But I like to write with my our other guitar player, Danny. He's more of like a studio tracking guy, so we can do quick demos there. He's a great guitar player, great musician, so he kind of fills the gaps. And I can really focus on what I'm doing, which is, the melody and the lyrics and stuff. So that's usually how I like to write. But, I did this YouTube series called Rudy with a producer here in Phoenix. And we did a thing called A Song a Day, where we tried to write as fast as we could, the best song we could in one day. And it was, I'll be honest, it's some of my best stuff that we've ever done. And it never really did anything, but I mean, everybody that listens to it's like, dude, this was some good stuff. And I was like, I know. And we wrote all those songs in one day. It's crazy.
Something about that spontaneity, breeds creativity.
Exactly, dude. Exactly. And that first idea, it's as much as you want to think that there could be another one, sometimes that's the one, dude. You just never know.
Well, the reason I asked about the demo, there's a lot going on in this song from production value. Lots of different instruments coming in and out. And how much of that was created in the studio, I guess, with Matt, your producer? Like, would you sit down and say, hey, I think we should maybe try this type of guitar tone here? Or did your bandmates and yourself kind of have an idea what you wanted it to sound like at that point? Because you said this song's a little more poppy than some of your other stuff, too.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I want to say Matt Mahaffey kind of took the lead on like where the guitars and stuff were going. Because if I remember correctly, the demo that we had was on acoustic, so coming in with an electric guitar actually changed it a bunch. And he definitely was there. He had so many pedals, dude. Like, this guy is like crazy. And we were just trying to find the best sound, and yeah, Mahaffey had a lot to do with that for sure.
Was that an acoustic off the top, or was that electric?
Actually, it could be acoustic. I think we play it live with electric, so that's why I'm getting confused on it. But yeah, it is acoustic. You're right.
That's what it sounded like. It sounded like a finger-picked acoustic. Well, when we start off verse 1 here, there's like this huge breath that you take that starts the verse. It almost sounds like a reverse vocal or reverse cymbal there.
18, crazy.
It's a cool way, and I'll tell you, I have falsetto envy. If anybody could do the falsetto thing, and you pull it off live too.
Thanks, dude.
I just can't do it. I can do it, but it's just not believable, and my bandmates laugh at me, and you have a really strong falsetto to be able to go back and forth. It's great.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. It's funny because when I was little, my mom I would always be singing. She's like, you need to take singing lessons. And I was like, nah, that's for girls. And then she just threw me in singing lessons, not knowing that I would do music just because I was a bored kid. And here I am. So I have got to thank my teacher for that shit, man. She definitely trained me up for that
one. Well, that's very cool. On the second half of this verse, which the second half of this verse is almost like a pre-chorus. I was going to call it a pre-chorus, but I'm going with verse for the whole thing I just read. But on the second half here, on the line, should have seen this coming from a mile away. There's like an electric piano or something that joins off to the left. It's kind of pan. It's only on this line, and it's pretty loud in the mix.
Should have seen this coming from a mile away. 18, crazy.
Yeah. I believe it's like a piano or something. It's like a little bell type of thing in the back. Yeah. I really love that part. I'm pretty sure it's like a keyboard.
Yeah, Matt was credited as playing like a Fender Rhodes, and that's what it sounds like, an electric piano.
That's
at
it,
that
man.
part.
That's it right there. Yep.
It's really cool. And on the last line, I know what you want from me. The band stops as the guitars ring out a big chord with like this tremolo bar, which I guess you'd call that a whammy bar. The guitar kind of does a little warble there. And there's also, there's these four hits on the ride cymbal that happens to set up chorus number 1.
I know what you want from me. So if you wanna piss off your parents, need me to scare them, show them you're all grown up. If long hair and tattoos are what attract you, baby, then you're in luck. And I know it's just a phase, you're not in love with me. You wanna piss off your parents, baby, piss off your parents, that's alright with me.
And again, do you recall being in the studio and your guitar player or you did that whammy bar part?
I honestly think that might have been a Mahaffey move too, because at the time our guitar players weren't super into like changing pedals, dude. Like I said, we were like the most organic you could get. Like, dude, we came out of a garage, we didn't know shit about anything. We just were like, we're gonna start a band. So I mean, at this point we had been pretty far along in our career, but even then, like, our guys didn't have any whammy bars on their guitars or any shit like that, dude. Like, we were just straight up doing it. So it was, again, a Mahaffey move to be like, have you guys ever, used a whammy bar? And we're like, no. And he's like, check this out, And he strums it out and he goes, wow, wow. And we're just like, whoa. And it was, one of those moments where it's like, this is super cool. And then forever, those guys carried those whammy bars on them. But it was a cool moment for sure.
You gave me deja vu. We had Dan from Story of the Year on the show. And when they made their first record with John Feldman, they had to actually go and like learn how to recreate all those sounds.
Yeah,
they had never
dude.
worked with those pedals and stuff before. And it kind of shaped who they were as a band. And it really pushes you as a musician.
Yeah, dude. Stuff like that is so cool. And producers, when they can get that out of you, is like, it's groundbreaking for bands. I think for us, it was Mike Green. Mike Green was like our guy that worked on our earlier stuff, but he like completely molded that signature Anarbor sound for us, which is exactly what we needed because we had no direction. We're just writing music for music. And he's like, yo, bring it in. This is your sound. This is what you guys need to keep doing. And we were like, oh, wow. So it kind of clicked for us. But, dude, that's so cool to hear that about Story of the Year.
Yeah, no. And I always talk about little hooks within songs. And that little whammy bar thing there is just a little, a little hook there. I think it's great. Well, chorus 1, I'm going to read these lyrics and have you set these up for us, Slade. The first line here is just by yourself. You say, so if you want to piss off your parents, date me to scare them, show them you're all grown up. If long hair and tattoos are what attract you, baby, then you're in luck. And I know it's just a phase. You're not in love with me. You want to piss off your parents, baby. Piss off your parents? That's all right with me.
So it's pretty funny how quickly this chorus came because we were all sitting there and we had the verse written already and we had we already had the music for the chorus kind of figured out. And Sean Douglas is in there and he's like, what if we just make it something like, you want to piss off your parents, kid, or something like that. And we were like, oh, that's really funny, or whatever. And we kind of ran with the piss off your parents thing. So I think one of us was, piss off your parents, they mean it's good. And it just kind of rolled into the next thing. And we're all throwing these lines out. And it pieced together really nicely and very fast. It's crazy how quickly that chorus happened because it's one of our most popular songs, and I put hours and hours into courses, and we literally came up with this in within an hour and a half, and the demo was finished. So it's crazy how that worked, man, and how quickly it came into its final chorus.
All alone we float, and I feel like I'm on drugs, getting me high, getting me low.
Hey everybody, don't go anywhere. We got lots more with Slade Echeverria after a few words from our sponsors.
Mad Magazine.
Advertising mascots.
B-movie posters.
And cartoons.
Oh yeah, can't forget cartoons.
If you get the funky connection that ties these pop culture gems together, you'll dig Two Designers Walk Into a Bar.
See, we're a couple of creatively curious pals living between the bookends of grand museums and dive bars.
Hey, you know the place, the sweet spot where highbrow and lowbrow become drinking buddies.
So join our barroom chats as we talk influential work and uncover stories of how the familiar became iconic. Think behind the music for the stuff we love.
Check out our website at twodesignerswalkintoabar.com.
And listen wherever you get your podcasts or visit evergreenpodcasts.com.
Do you like to laugh, geek out on music, and learn all about that band or artist who had that one song back in the day, but then seemed to fall off the face of the earth? If so, you need to subscribe to One Hit Thunder. Together with an array of interesting and hilarious guests, we do a weekly dive into one-hit wonders like Eiffel 65's Blue, Krayshawn's Gucci Gucci, EMF's Unbelievable, Delamitri's Roll to Me, Los Del Rio's Macarena, Musical Youth's Pass the Dutchie, and even Patrick Swayze's She's Like the Wind. So are you subscribed to One Hit Thunder or what? As Desiree would say, you gotta be. And as K7 would encourage, you gotta come baby come and join in on the fun of the One Hit Thunder podcast.
Come, baby, come, baby, baby, come, come. Come, baby, come, baby, baby, come. No, my head should be straight. You're kinda strung out. I'm strung out. I need a fix.
And now, back to the show.
Our listeners know, can't tell you how many times we've heard that on this show, huge hits for bands that just were written in 2 minutes, didn't have much thought behind it, and the one they labored over is the album track that no one wants to hear.
Nobody wants to hear, dude. It's a little disheartening, but also it just goes to show that you just never know. You never know. And that's the beauty of it.
You truly don't ever know. Well, and I'll tell you, what teenage kid can't get behind this lyric here? I mean, everyone's trying to piss off their parents at that age. The drums, bass, and stereo guitars are in at the top of this chorus. They're pretty fuzzy guitars. You recall, like, if maybe there was a Big Muff on there or anything?
I think we were doing Big Muff during that time. I know it must have had to be a Big Muff or something along those lines, yeah.
Yeah, and almost sounds like a flanger on there, too, with the guitars. Sounds a little flangy, and those guitars are playing really staccato, jing jing,
yep,
jing jing rhythms, and it's really heavy. The tambourine is playing 16th notes. It's really keeping this chorus moving. There's harmonies on the back half, starting with "And I Know It's Just a Phase," harmonies all through the end. At that point in the song, the stereo guitars go to a strumming pattern, and a synthesizer also joins here, which that synthesizer is a total hook too.
Yeah,
did that come from Matt?
That was another Matt thing, and that's just him like sitting there, like hitting on, getting these all crazy effects. And we would, so we were staying at his house, and we would track, and then we'd come back, go to sleep like in his basement or whatever, and then come back in the morning and check and be, guys, check this out. I added this to the track, blah blah blah. And be like, oh, that's so rad, And he would always have like little secrets here and there that he would put in, and that was one of them.
That's so great. I've had that go both ways with myself, where I've walked in and producers like, hey, check this out. It's like, oh my gosh, this is the greatest thing in the world. Another time it's like, why'd you do that?
Why did you change it? Yeah, no, I've definitely gone both ways. This happened to be a good thing for sure.
That's awesome. Well, on the last line, "That's All Right With Me," this line is just vocals, and it's followed by 2 bars of, I don't know if this is a synthesizer swell or a guitar swell.
Right with me.
It's a guitar, yeah. It is a guitar. It's like, but Matt like put it in reverse or something. He affected it with something, and it and even to this day we're like, how do we, like, Danny, our guitar player, is like, I still don't know how to like recreate this.
Yeah, you just do a pick slide at that point.
Exactly, right? Hey, that's I think pretty sure that's what he does. But even to this point, yeah, it's so funny. Even our drummers will get, because we don't have an actual drummer. We always have to hire guys. We have this guy now, but long story. Anyways. During that part specifically, they're like, they think that it's sooner than it should be, and we're like, no, dude, that part, I know it's a little bit weird, but it's like kind of a delay. I don't know, but it seems to confuse people a little bit when you're actually playing the song. It's funny.
Oh, it's kind of strange. It is a full 2 bars of arrest there with that noise, and I really zoned in on that part because I always, when I hear sounds I haven't heard before, I'm like, what is that? That's different.
Yeah.
It's really good. Verse 2 comes right after that swell there. Drums, bass, and an acoustic sounding guitar are joined by a clean palm muted guitar with like delay off to the right. It's really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he like kind of panned it or something. And I don't know. We always try to add a little bit of indiness to it. So even that like little guitar picking was a little bit out of our range, but that was kind of like a door open for us too. So I really like that part in that song.
Yeah, that part's great, and it really separates verse 2 from verse 1. It's just
right.
kind of lifting the song there.
Definitely.
I'm broke, so you pulled out your daddy's card. I drink, I smoke, you ate it up from the very start. Should have seen this coming from a mile away. I'll play your game. I know what you want from me. I know what you want from me. So if you want to piss off your parents,
I'm broke, so you pulled out your daddy's card. I drink, I smoke. You ate it up from the very start. Should have seen this coming from a mile away. I'll play your game. I know what you want from me. I know what you want from me.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think at this point we were all just trying to describe, like, I guess me, and whatever it was, kind of, because we had to fit that character, right? So, I mean, it kind of laid it out. That was me in like my early 20s, man. Drinking, smoking, kind of an asshole, and just not really caring. And we portrayed that into this. Yeah, it kind of speaks for itself in a way, man.
Right. And did the other guys, how much influence did they have? You know, I know that one of the guys in the band kind of came up with the chorus line, but where were they at this point when you were crafted? Did they have suggestions? Hey, maybe change this line, or did they like what you were coming up with?
Yeah. So we were all kind of jumping in and throwing stuff out. And at the time, I didn't even have long hair. I think a couple of the other guys did. So they threw that, they threw little stuff like that, and that made it make more sense and made the song a little bit better. But I think for us, when it comes down to songwriting, we were just so young, and it wasn't like everyone specific to their role, really. It was very interesting, like the way, the dynamic for the band that we had back in the day. So everybody was kind of writing and throwing stuff out, and just kind of seeing where it went.
It's before egos took over and you got older.
Dude, yeah. Seriously, bro.
I need to get more of my songs on the record.
And now there's only 2 members in my band, so it makes perfect sense, bro.
There you go.
Yeah,
well,
that's funny. I'm just kidding.
On verse 2 here, on the second half, should have seen this coming. Killer harmony on that line.
You ate it up from the very start. Should have seen this coming from a mile away.
I love harmonies, dude. Thank you. I love doing harmonies, and I love trying to get like kind of the weirder ones in there. I know this one's probably not too crazy, but
that one's great. And again, it's not in verse 1. You have the harmony there. Do you recall having that conversation with Matt Mahaffey? Did he say, hey, there should be harmonies here? Or did you kind of have a blueprint when you went in, kind of knowing where they were going to be at?
For the most part, I kind of do like know where they should go. And then we'll kind of dissect that one line and see what we can get around it. But I do recall, I think him being like, the second time around, let's throw something in, and like us finding this part specifically, because this one took me a minute to hit. It's kind of a weirder one.
And a synth also comes in here on the back half. It's kind of panned off left. It's awesome.
I'll play your game. I know what you want from me.
Again, was that something that Matt, you walked in one day and he said, hey, check this out?
It had to have been, dude. It had to have been, because I know that I wasn't sitting there going, wah.
Right.
Yeah.
But how was that weird for you as a younger songwriter? It seems like you were pretty receptive, because I know my band, myself included, we were not receptive to producers in the early days. We knew everything. We were already playing to 200 people up the road. What do you know?
Yeah. Right?
I couldn't have been more wrong, but you seem like you guys were pretty receptive to this. Like he was like the 5th member of the band at this point.
Yeah, we definitely took him in, and originally we wrote a song with him just to see how it would go, and it turned out really good, and we knew that we vibed really well with him. So we kind of gave him this trust, and he kind of just ran with it, and honestly, he did a great job. There was some stuff, obviously, that we kind of had to take out, and he was kind of, like I said, more techie, more electronic, so he always wanted to add electronic stuff into the songs, which we didn't really want. So it was, hit or miss, bouncing off each other, but he did a great job, dude. I loved Matt. I thought he was great.
Yeah, no, and the record is, almost 10 years old. It still sounds
crazy.
Current. Yeah, it sounds current. It sounds awesome. The last line, there's a harmony on I know what you want from me, and those uhs that you do. There's harmonies there. The band stops there. There's a tambourine rattle, and that guitar tremolo happens again there before we get into chorus 2. Again, love those harmonies there.
Yeah,
great.
Dude, thank you.
I know what you want from me. So if you wanna piss off your parents, take me to scare them, show them you're all grown up. If long hair and tattoos are what attract you, baby, then you're in luck. And I know it's just a phase. You're not in love with me. You wanna piss off your parents, baby. Piss off your parents, that's alright with me.
There's a drum fill this time. You're not by yourself on the first So You Wanna. That's just you, Slade.
Yes,
and
sir.
the rest of the chorus is the same lyrics from chorus 1, but there's a harmony on every line this time.
Yeah, we just wanted to elevate it just a little bit. So I think with that, touch of a harmony, it just kind of was like, oh, and nobody really notices it, but you feel something that's just a little bit brighter, and I think that's what that did.
Have you ever done this, and the harmonies on this chorus are great, have you ever laid down a harmony on chorus 2 or 3 and then said, man, it's got to be on chorus 1, I miss it too much?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think.
Okay.
Yeah. If they stayed or not, I'd have to go back and listen. But I'm always like, yeah, it sounds better this way, And
no, I love songs that build. But this song was interesting to me when I would go back and hit rewind and listen to it again. When the first chorus would come on, it sounded naked to me without all those harmonies.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So I feel that, man. I feel that.
I'm all about a song building though, and again, I love the harmonies there. On the back half here, the synth comes in again with big strumming stereo guitars, and when I A/B those parts to chorus number 1, they both sound like they're a bit louder in the mix. Mm-hmm. They sound bigger there. Do you recall?
We did definitely bump it. We did, the gradual build. So just turning that gain up a little bit more, or whatever it is, that Matt style of doing it.
Yeah, when those guitars start strumming in the second half here, they just seem bigger. I kept A-B'ing it with the first. I'm like, they're bigger here, as well as that synth that comes in.
Yeah,
it sounds a little bit like, not huge, maybe 1 dB or something, but it's enough to where it lifts there.
Yeah, he did a good job of kind of using the guitars to lift it for sure, and that synth behind it.
That's great. And Matt did mix the record too, correct?
Yes, sir.
That's what I thought. Well, we get into a really cool, I'm calling this a bridge. There's a 4-bar break, and it's dun, 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 and these woo, ooh, ooh, ooh vocals that happen 2 times. And again, it only happens that one time, that part, with those breaks with the drums and the guitars and those harmonies on the woo, ooh, oohs.
Yeah.
But that's a hook within the song.
That's all right with me.
Right there is like pretty classic Ann Arbor style. We always would do like the hits and then the stop and the weird, breaks. But that was kind of our way of putting our sound into that, I think.
Yeah, I love that part, and it's only used once. There was some restraint with that, I feel, because it's a great part. You could have almost started the song with it. You could have ended the song with it,
That's
but you said no.
Yeah.
It's like no. It's just going to go here. Well, the guitars sound massive on those hits with the drums. Those 4 bars are followed by 12 bars of the woo-oo-oos with harmonies and a loud, it sounds like a wah-wah pedal on a guitar.
Yep.
Yeah, is that what's happening there?
Came right back, dude, and here Matt's just whack, 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 hitting it so hard, and we all loved it. And that like brought the funkiness of Ann Arbor, because we've always been a little funk too. So that kind of just like put it right in, dude. I mean, it was perfect. The whammy bar did a lot for us.
Yeah, the first pass of this song, when I heard that, I'm like, that's an unexpected turn. I didn't expect it coming in, and it's not this super technical part, but it's just, I think it's perfect for this bridge part.
Yeah, man, thank you. It's funny to hear that, because I've heard the song so many times, but yeah, it's definitely a cooler part for sure when it comes in.
At the very end here, we get the lyric, I know what you want from me. It's the last 4 bars. There's a tambourine rattle, and those ooh, 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 ooh vocals harmonies happen again to take us into chorus number 3.
I know what you want from me. So if you want to piss off your parents, take me to scare them, show them you're all grown up. If long hair and tattoos are what attract you, baby, then you're in luck. And I know it's just a phase. You're not in love with me. And I know it's just a phase. You're not in love with me. You wanna piss off your parents, baby. Piss off your parents, that's alright. You wanna piss off your parents, baby. Piss off your parents, that's alright with me.
Again, you're in the studio now, and you're creating this bridge part. Whose idea was it? Hey, we should stop here and bring those oohs in before we go to chorus 3. Do you recall how that happened?
This wasn't a part of the demo, so we had to add this little changeover into the next, breakdown chorus that we had. But this was like us and Mahaffey kind of dissecting it and being like, how can we go from a rock back into the chorus and still make it sound cool? So doing that like little walk up, walk down thing definitely fit the song, so we kept it.
Very cool. Well, chorus 3, pretty much the same lyrics. At the back half, it changes though. So I'm going to read all of these.
Yeah.
Have you set these up? I'm not going to do what I'm calling the post-chorus outro. I'm just going to read up to a certain point here.
Okay.
So if you want to piss off your parents, date me to scare them. Show them you're all grown up. If long hair and tattoos are what attract you, baby, then you're in luck. And I know it's just a phase. You're not in love with me. and I know it's just a phase. You're not in love with me.
I mean, back when I was, in my early 20s, it was easier for me to have the girls chase you, and I obviously knew that they weren't in love with me. They just wanted to hang out and do whatever. So yeah, we had to just kind of emphasize that and close it out with that, man, because that's just what it is,
Gotcha. On this last chorus, it's just the kick and snare drum on that loop with vocals, and it sounds like almost like a talk box. And for those listeners who don't know what a talk box is, it's something that Peter Frampton made popular. Richie Sambora also uses it on Living on a Prayer. It's a wah 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 wah, that thing where you're basically mimicking what you're doing on guitar with your vocal. Is there a talk box there on that guitar?
God, I wish. No, but talk
What
boxes
is
are
that?
so sick, dude. It must have just been one of his crazy pedals, man, that he had going on it. I don't know. I don't know.
Or he filtered it through some plugin in the computer or something. It's
Right.
a crazy. I'm like, is that a talk box?
Yeah, dude, it does sound like a talk box. You're totally right.
Your parents take me to scare them, show them you're all grown up. If long hair and tattoos are what attract you, baby, then you're in luck.
Yeah, it's really, really cool, and it sounds like it breaks down to a single guitar there, Slade.
Yes, one single guitar. Thought we'd break it down for the crowd so they could sing along with us.
And now something that kind of maybe go, on this part, and I want to ask you, there's like 3 or 4 voices here that are in unison on the first half up until the word luck. It's very subtle, though. It's not super loud like a gang vocal, because it could have been. This part's really triumphant, that breaks down to the drums. You got that crazy, what I'm calling the talk box guitar there.
Yeah.
But you can hear there's more voices, but it's not mixed super loud. Did you ever have that discussion?
Never had that discussion, and I honestly, now that you're saying, I've never even noticed it, dude. Now that
Yeah.
you're telling me that, I've never noticed. I'm gonna have to go back and listen, but it had to be something Mahaffey and like his experience with mixing songs or whatever, and he probably had a little trick up his sleeve that just elevates stuff just a tad towards the end of the song, and probably another trick of his. I'm not sure. I need to go back and listen now.
Wait, you don't? I've said this before to people. You don't sit around and listen to your own music? Come on, Slade.
God, if I did, man, I'd not be the same person.
The reason I brought that up is it's just when I watched the live videos, the whole crowd at that point. It's it's like the gang vocal part. So that's why I wanted to ask you about that.
Yeah, it should have been a gang part, but it works regardless. So yeah.
Another hook within this song. On the back half here, after luck, there's this big woo that is a gang vocal there. That's super loud in the mix.
In luck, and I know it's just a phase.
He might have just stacked some of my vocals because I don't even remember doing gangs on those. So I think he just stacked me, dude. Stacked me on that right there, that part, yeah.
Well, the last 4 lines here, we get harmonies on all those lines. We don't get harmonies on the first half, which is cool because they were present during chorus too, but you left them out in that, what I'm calling the subtle gang vocal. But on the line, you're not in love, there's a little hiccup you do on in love that changes the melody ever so slightly there.
You're not in love with me, and I know it's just a phase. You're not in love with me.
I love doing that type of stuff, and I wish that at that age when I was in that song, I could have changed it just a little bit more, because I love when singers do that towards the end of the song. They change it up, or they find another way around it that still makes sense. And listening back to plenty of our songs, I just wish that I had that experience that I did maybe now that I didn't then.
And the next line, and I know it's just a phase, the lead vocal melody slightly changes on that line. And I love that these 2 lines, and I know it's just a phase, you're not in love with me, they repeat twice before going to the outro here. The fact that they repeat and it's not the same chorus as chorus 1 and 2, it makes it, for me, not feel repetitive or boring at all. It just keeps it fresh here.
Yeah, I think that was like we just tried to keep it fresh, kind of change it up so it wasn't repetitive. I feel that we had a couple songs on that were a little bit repetitive, so it was good that we could switch it up just a tad. Yeah, it's a nice little touch.
What do you call this next part? Post-chorus, outro, or just a continuation of the chorus here?
Outro? Yeah, outro.
Okay.
Outro.
That was what I wrote down second. I put post-chorus or outro. We're going to go with outro here. The lyric is, you want to piss off your parents, baby? Piss off your parents. That's all right. You want to piss off your parents, baby? Piss off your parents? That's all right with me. There's harmonies on every line here, killer harmonies. And on that last line, it abruptly ends with you saying me by yourself for like a half a second as the band stops right before you.
Yeah, just barely finishes it with me. Yeah.
You wanna piss off your parents, baby. Piss off your parents, that's alright. You wanna piss off your parents, baby. Piss off your parents, that's alright with me.
It's cool. And the kitchen sink here is in at the end of the song. Drums, bass, guitar, synth, keys, shaker, tambo. It's all in. The song ends. Sounds like you didn't think much of it. Just another album track. Wasn't released as a single.
Yeah,
and
man.
Here we are still talking about the song because it's blown up for you guys.
Yeah, it's blown up, and it's been a crazy journey with this song because, like we told you before, we had no idea. So seeing the progression of how it's just grown and become our number one song is awesome. And I was a little jaded on it, and now I just have to accept that, it is what it is. It's a great song, and I just, I got to live with it. So I love it. I've come to love it.
Absolutely. And for all you aging musicians out there, don't overlook TikTok. You never know what it could do for your song.
Jesus, dude, for real. Like, we totally overlooked it. And we had, I'm telling you, bro, millions of videos of kids just making videos to this song. And here we are with no account, no nothing. So it is what it is. Yeah.
That's so cool. Well, before we break here, you got the new record that just came out, Love and Drugs. Tell us a little bit about that. And you got any touring plans coming up? What you got going on?
Yeah. So Love and Drugs is super interesting. So we haven't come out with a record since 2015. So this will be a pretty big move for us. Got 10 songs, got a bunch of features on it. But yeah, we're going to be hitting the road in November. I'm not sure when this is going to be released, but we're going out with a band called The Hire from Las Vegas. So we're doing like a West Coast run with them. We got a bunch of festival stuff that we're doing too. So if you see us, come check us out, man.
Awesome. Well, Slade, thank you so much for sitting with us today. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Chris. I appreciate you having me on this podcast, man. Seriously.
It's an emergency. It's a hold up. I should have shown up. Kept your composure. Remember it perfectly. What's the hold up?
Hey everybody, I hope you enjoyed that really fun episode with Slade Echeverria. I can't recommend the new Anarbor album, Love and Drugs, enough. I love it. It's catchy as hell, and I think a lot of you will love it too. Also, don't go anywhere. There's lots more Chris DeMakes a Podcast after a few words from our sponsors.
Hey, this is Scott from Fly on the Call. Each week I speak to a different musician, whether they're in an established band like Silverstein or the Wonder Years, or a band on the rise like Spanish Love Songs, Origami Angel, or Meet Me at the Altar. We discuss music and lyrics, the successes and challenges of being in a band, and more, as we get to the core of each artist. The show features musicians of diverse genres and backgrounds, so there's always a chance I'll be talking to your new favorite band. Listen and subscribe at soundtalentmedia.com.
As we near the end of the show, here's a band you might not know.
Welcome to this week's Band You Might Not Know. If you'd like your band to be considered for Chris DeMakes a Podcast, all you have to do is email your best song via MP3 only and a short bio to bandyoumightnotknow@gmail.com. This week's featured band is The Drowns, a street rock and roll band from Seattle, Washington. The band consists of Aaron Rev Peters on guitar and vocals, Andy Wiley on bass and vocals, Johnny Wade on rhythm guitar, and Jake Margolis on the drums. Their latest record on Pirate Press Records is called Lunatics. Here's a snippet of their song, She's the Knife.
Watch what you say, motherfucker. Better watch your mouth, 'cause she's looking for you. Oh! She's a knife, she's alive. She'll change the world right before your eyes. You run your mouth, she'll cut you down. She's the one your mama warned you about. Oh yeah, she's a knife, she's alive. She'll change the world.
The Wrap with Chris and Chris.
Yes, Chris, there was a lot of mention of TikTok in this episode, and I don't think that's going to be the last time, because in the modern world we're in, now, if you're listening to this 10 years from now, I don't know if there's something else that has come along, but for right now, that is a place where a lot of people discover new music. Do you know what other friend of the show's recently, Chris, got a huge TikTok boom?
You with Punchline?
No, I wish.
I was like, why are you talking about yourself in third person?
No. Actually, we did have a really big TikTok of us hacky sacking. But I was referring to Wheatus. Teenage Dirtbag just blew back up on on TikTok. Not that the song wasn't already huge, but it was people posting pictures of themselves as teenage dirtbags using the song Teenage Dirtbag. So been talking to them here and there about that, and they got millions and millions of plays and stuff because of that. So don't discount it.
Yeah, which again isn't surprising. The lyric Teenage Dirtbag. Think of the people that are on TikTok, a very younger generation. No surprise that Anarbor's song blew up too with 18.
But Chris, do not think that TikTok is just for the younger generation. Colin Hay from Men at Work is on there. Tears for Fears are on there. So anyone who has some sort of music to promote, I think it's a cool place to do it. You never know what's going to catch on and what doesn't. But I think it's cool to at least throw your hat in the ring, or throw your song in the ring, I guess I should say.
Yeah, and I think that Slade was just as surprised as anybody with this phenomenon that happened with their band. Here's a song that wasn't a single, wasn't a video from the record. They hadn't even played it. It was just a complete afterthought at some point. It wasn't really like their other songs. And, he admitted that they've had to embrace it.
Same story as Wheatus, too, where he's like, I wasn't even on TikTok. Neither was Wheatus. They got on once the song started taking off. But, it's interesting. You never know what's going to resonate with people, man. And in the short attention spans of now, I hate to say this, but sometimes it's even a part of a song that resonates with people, a verse or just a chorus or something that hits people. And as artists, we got to take what we can get that will expose people to the rest of our catalogs, right?
Sure.
I thought it was really cool that Matt from Self, I didn't realize that was Matt from Self who produced this. That guy is a crazy producer. I first discovered Self because of his, I was going to say their cover of the Doobie Brothers, What a Fool Believes, which is one of my favorite songs. He did a wild cover of that from the album Gizmogery that came out in the year 2000.
This is too apology. Anybody else would surely know. He's watching that girl. What a fool he is. He sees the wise man has the power.
But I think that really illustrates the producer that Matt Mahaffey is.
Yeah, and Slade praised him throughout the episode, just said, yeah, that was Matt's thing, and he brought a lot to the table with the song, because it sounds like they kind of had a sketch of it, a skeleton. He wrote it on acoustic and brought it in, and they kind of crafted it in the studio, and out of nowhere, they'd go home, the band, and Matt would be there tinkering with stuff. The band would come in the next day, be like, hey, check out this synth part, and like, oh, that's cool.
He seems like one of those savants when it comes to producing. Anyway, just listening to his music anyway, he's not afraid to use crazy sounds and all kind of stuff. So I think he'd be a fun person to work with. It's cool that Slade got to do that. I thought it was cool that you guys got into the subject matter of the song a little bit. The fact of the matter is, either you are that age or you've been that age, and it's a memorable age for everyone, good or bad.
We were all 18 once. We can all relate to that lyric.
Hey, did you like being 18 when you were 18, or do you look back at it and like, oh, my better years were later?
I liked being 18. I was my freshman year of college. The band had started and everything was exciting, and I was going to 100 shows a week. It was great.
Yeah, I guess 18 was pretty cool. I think 18's a little overrated. Maybe 21 was a little cooler. Anyway, also you talked a little bit about, Chris, the art of the falsetto, and I thought that was cool. You always bring up that that ain't your forte, but
no, it's
a skill.
It's a skill, and it's difficult to sing live for sure, and to be able to pull it off. And that's why I always research and do go look at the live videos from these artists that we have on here. And Slade kills it live. He does it great.
That's impressive. I know there's been lots of demos, and then even from the demo stage to the actual recording stage in bands that I've played in, we've done falsetto on it, and it sounds great recorded. Like you're saying, Chris, man, to pull that off live is a feat, because you want to have the power of singing. You're singing hard, but with falsetto, you gotta scale it back and really have some good mic technique and some good vocal technique to pull that off. So that's cool that he can.
Well, and I also know my falsetto, I can't hit the notes that I used to hit at 20, 25 years old. My range in my regular voice is still pretty much there. In fact, I think my range is better now than it's ever been, but my falsetto, I can't hit those notes. My old throat box is saying, nope, not going to happen.
That's interesting because falsetto a lot of times is used as a workaround for notes that you can't hit full voice.
I know, it's weird.
But you're saying the opposite. Interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely weird. And you mentioned a little bit ago the sounds in this song and what Matt brought to it. There was a bunch of unique sounds that I brought up, processed and filtered sounds that I hadn't heard before. I thought that was a talk box that came in on chorus 3, but it wasn't. Just such a unique sound. I love that with music. It just keeps it fresh.
It's fun to approach a song that way. And that's a question I have for you because you've been very rock based. Yeah, you guys have a couple different instruments, some horns that you wouldn't normally have in a 4-piece rock band or something. But have you ever let yourself just go wild, like be in a Logic session or a Pro Tools session, be like, I don't care what I'm using, I just want to go crazy with it?
Yeah, I do that with my own stuff for sure. I'm always experimenting, trying to, especially I think because of this show, it's really got me interested in trying to do different, sonic things that I haven't done before. With the band, it's we're kind of, for better or for worse, we're in a box. We have our sound. I don't think we're going to be pulling out a crazy talk box that's filtered anytime soon. But you never know. You never know.
That could be cool, actually, with Less Than Jake to hear you bust out a talk box in the middle of a song. But yeah, I think, Chris, the most important thing that I would stress to anyone listening to a songwriting podcast is there's a lot of toys out there now. And there are some people that are like, no, you got to mic the amps. And there's some people that are like, hey, Kemper's cool with me, or I'll plug direct. More than anything, whatever your opinion on that is, you got to have a great song to start with. The skeleton has to be there because the bells and whistles aren't going to turn something that's not good into something good.
You're absolutely correct. And as far as bells and whistles goes, Chris, we have a couple of bells and whistles outside of this show you should tell people about.
Oh, yeah. If you like bells and whistles when it comes to podcasting, go to ChrisDeMakes.com and sign up for our supporting cast, where you'll get a bonus episode every week, a huge catalog of back episodes of the After Party podcast, which is a lot of fun. It's an extension of this podcast where Chris and I get to just reflect on whatever the topic is that week. A lot of times it's music-based, not always, but if you like us and you want to support the show and you want some more entertainment each week, ChrisDeMakes.com is the place to go.
That's right. Head over to ChrisDeMakes.com right now and sign up. And if you haven't already, please join our Chris DeMakes a Podcast Facebook group. Give me a follow on Instagram at LessThanChrisD. And I want to thank this week's guest, Slade Echeverria, for sitting in with us. We'll see you next week.
Do you enjoy the content and production of Chris DeMakes a Podcast? Do you have an idea for a podcast or an existing podcast that you'd like to take to the next level? Well, check out WeKnowPodcasting.com. At WeKnowPodcasting.com, we have over 25 years of combined experience in the pod field, and we're ready to help you succeed in the golden era of podcasting.
Hi, this is Paul Phelps.
And this is Monica Strutt.
And we're from the Daily Music Business Podcast. We're joined by a number of other really great hosts in creating daily content with great advice for independent musicians just like you.
That's right. We put out episodes daily on all topics from music marketing to branding, advice on signing with a manager and label, and anything else you need to up-level the business side of your music career. We've got it covered.
Subscribe to the Daily Music Business Podcast today on your favorite podcast catcher.
Subscribe today to the Daily Music Business Podcast on your favorite podcast platform.
Hey, what's up? This is Blake Weiland. I'm the host of the Tone Mob Podcast. It's a show where I interview guitar people about guitar stuff. We talk about their pedals, their amps, their accessories, their preferences, all that stuff, as well as a healthy dose of whatever comes up. Topics have ranged from aliens to addiction and anywhere in between. Oh yeah, and pizza. We're definitely going to be talking about pizza. So get the show wherever you're listening to this podcast at. Just search The Tone Mob in your search bar and it will pop right up. Come join us. We're having a lot of fun. Thanks for checking it out.